Okay, so it's almost 3, but I've been up since like 12:30. That and if you think I look more awake, which I don't know what you think when you look at me, but um it's not an illusion. I tried to make look more awake too. I put some makeup on. I was looking in the mirror. And now with the bright lights in the bathroom, it's like, ooh. Um so anyways, I was like, oh man, I look so tired. And my eyes keep being really puffy. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, because I keep laying on my side. I cannot get comfortable. And that is one reason why I'm up. And I keep laying on my side, and so on all this puffiness gets all like grrr. And so then it's like, oh my God, you gotta do all of this all of this lymph movement stuff. Like I always put my castor oil on. And I swear to God, I think that my castor oil, it could be also helping with the eyebrows. I know it has to do with minerals too, but because my eyebrows had been so white, they had become so white and so sparse. And so they're filling back in and all going darker again. So I stopped coloring them in because now I'm interested in watching them turn. And then you can see like when well, I don't know, always it looks brighter, but it's really fading so much, or not fading, filling in so much. The white's fading. I guess. That's funny because that's kind of backwards and upside down or something. Um, God, and my eyes keep, like, I keep seeing things. And sometimes I'll look over and my face starts morphing and stuff. It's so weird. That just happened. But I keep seeing things all the time, everywhere. God, it's driving me crazy. I just ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Um, uh, oh, I wanted to say this though, because this was kind of trippy. So I said I went up to the food bank, right? And the last 2 times that I had went, I had decided I wanted to go where there was no people. Like I was manifesting. I don't want to go when there's no people. And I just want to go in, get there, get my stuff, and get out and get home. And especially because I was just getting the dogs more used to me leaving. So I do it in like small increments. If I'm gonna be just going like not too far, if I'm gonna be going very far, I just take them because I don't know the way that everything is going in the world with the storms and washouts and road blockages and crazy shit. I mean, a fucking neighbor can go nutty and get your whole neighborhood blocked off. They can get people evacuated. Like the craziest things can happen in an instant, and they are happening. I mean, that's where we're at in the world. We're at that point of everything happening, and everything is all these endings, and so and it's so sad about over there by North Carolina and Tennessee, boys. So many people, so desperate. God, people want to help people so much, and I mean, it's overwhelming. And there's one guy I saw a video. I gotta finish the story up at the food bank thing. But one guy I saw a video, and he was out in front of the governor's mansion, and it's getting all prepared, doing the lawn and everything for their big celebration. And he said there's 535,000 homeless people now whose homes were, and that's not even counting all the people who were like, it's so much tragedy. But that, it just shows the imbalance in our society, in this governing force that doesn't really take care of its people, doesn't care. It's more of the elitist, it's more of that culture break, like they're above us. And we just can't stand for it anymore. This is time, and it's going, and the universe is having it happen. It's happening naturally, just like this. So I had been manifesting to go up there, and there not being any people. So it's been, so the first time I went, and I went, it was like 9:30 or whatever, and I was just like, I don't know, I just followed the impulses or whatever. And so I just left, went up there, and went in, and she's just standing there watching me walk up, and she's like, oh my gosh. You got here just in time. We just finished like a whole huge crowd of people. We've had people going for the whole time until just now. Everybody had just cleared out. I was like, I manifested it. And so then I went in and got my stuff and everything. And so then the next time I went up, and it was the same kind of thing, and I was manifesting. I just wanted to get up there and go and get done. And so I went up, and it was the same thing. And she saw me coming, and she's like, "Oh my God, we literally just finished 80 people. I can't, well, your timing is crazy." And I said, I manifested it. And so got my stuff. And so then yesterday or whatever, Tuesday, so I pull into the parking lot, and I had left around the same time, but I already knew. I was like, this is going to be way more because it's Thanksgiving dinner stuff they're giving. And so I was like, and it's so funny because I know a lot of indigenous people think like Thanksgiving is some sort of celebration, but Thanksgiving is more of a Pavlov's, everybody's got the day off, let's get together and eat. Like it's more of our, I swear to God, you just start craving this food, like pumpkin at a certain time, like all these things. They have programmed it into us. And it's not like, I don't know anybody who has like a big celebration for Thanksgiving that other than just everybody has a day off, which that's totally manipulated if you think about it from whatever perspective. You know, there's lots of different ways you can look at this stuff, but yeah, they choose the holidays, right? And they're the racist. But so then they give us all these days off. And so then they get us all to crave these certain foods. And then they promote this idea of everybody getting together and eating together and like celebrating and gratitude or whatever. Because my daughter had this issue. I think in high school, she's very activist kind of the number 3. She was very activist kind of daughter, and she was like, because she was the first one who saw the videos of the abuse of what was happening in the animal thing. That's why it's so ridiculous. These people now are saying that this butterball. So it's like you people, like, what in the hell do you think goes on in these places? Like, you think these people aren't here petting these things and just cut their heads off and put them in a bag? Like, what the hell do you think? Like, people lose their minds in this kind of situation. You have to cut yourself off. If you are killing something all day long, how do you have empathy and caring for it? And when you have no compassion or empathy for the other living creature, and then there is a disconnect. There is, like I always see it, is it's like this, it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it. To make them, I don't know, it's very dark. It goes like darker, but it makes them feel better or something. Like they have to, I don't know. I think it does something to your psyche, you know, just like war does or whatever, to go in and think that you can do what slaughtering animals and think that, you know, it's not going to affect you. I think, you know, there's something in you has to break. So something in there is like something's wrong. And when something's wrong, more things go wrong. So, and so anyways, those videos went around like when they were in high school, and all my daughters quit eating meat. And they were all just like, couldn't even believe it. And I think that they were put out like by PETA or something like that. I don't remember. It was very dramatic. And I couldn't even watch. It was disgusting what the stuff that they do at these places. And so, let me think, because she was the activist thing. I gotta think back where I was. Yeah, go off on these, like, go off on the branch, and I'm hanging on a leaf, and it's like, gotta get it back where I was. Okay, because the activist one. But see, that kind of thing is what also gets programmed and triggered so that they are, creates a division between the progressive and the conservative. There's the narrative and the agenda, the gap that is created. And so, and activism is that it is like when you have that kind of characteristic, it makes you want to be involved in kind of this, the way the progressive movement, kind of the liberal agenda comes across to a liberal, is more of a progressive way to of accepting people and stuff, and that's why they stomp around when they don't feel accepted and stuff. But they don't understand is that they are trying to get people to accept things that are not acceptable to everybody. Like, it is that they've kind of drained their moral compass. They've got them so off. I just saw this video that Steve Smith or whatever, that one singer. He was like wearing suits and ties and stuff, and now he prances around in garter belts, and he's overweight. It's so fetishy and so shameful. And it's not like shameful, I mean, he's sold himself out, obviously, but it's them shaming him, and it just is, I don't know, it's hard to watch to me. But the all over the place again. Let me see if I can backpedal, because it still feels like an open door. So, just a second, let me think back where I was. Okay, we went through the mineral thing. Oh, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is, I just saw a guy saying every single thing that you can find wrong with you, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper helps your body heal, its healing mechanism to heal itself. So it just promotes everything to be able to work better. So he said, make sure you get cayenne pepper. He has a whole series about it. If somebody's really interested, I've just add cayenne pepper in and drink. I always add it into my kombucha that I make. Or if I see kombucha out, like, and I buy some and they've got cayenne pepper, I buy cayenne pepper because I like it. It's kind of spicy. But just get cayenne pepper in your diet, and it's like every single thing, it should help. But okay, that was just a quick note. Let me think back, because there was still something with my daughter that I was gonna say, because that was still, that I haven't even finished the food bank story. So okay, well, if I go back to that, maybe it will remind me what I was gonna say, because there was some kind of a thing in there. And okay, so I go walking up the third time, and I'm thinking that there was gonna be a bunch of people and stuff, and because it was a holiday thing. And so when I go walking, as soon as I pulled in the parking lot, I saw there's lots of cars and stuff, and so I was like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of people. Um, you know, at first I sit there and I go like, oh, I woulda, shoulda, coulda. I shoulda went and got water first. Maybe that woulda, I wonder when it closed, start thinking of like how to maneuver out of the situation, how to take control. And then I said, I think I went to the, where you're supposed to be. And so then I start walking up to the thing, and in my conversation, it was like, we got to pay the piper sometimes. And so then I was like, yeah, true. So I go up, and I only had like 12 people to wait. It wasn't like a huge long thing that I was going to have to wait. It was still more towards the end. And so then I was standing there, or I was out in my car for a while, and then I think I was doing some videos of a couple of things. Oh, because I thought of a couple of things. And so I had done a couple of TikToks, and then I went walking up to the thing, and I think I was like 7 people back or something like that. And I saw somebody had something, I don't remember what it was, and they were coming out of the rec center place. And so or it's called, what is that place called? Like the neighborhood center. Every community needs these. It's like the community center. And I think that they need to be bigger. I think that they need to have a lot more. I think that needs to be more about the education. I think they need to be expanded into a lot more of the nucleus of a community or something. But in a rural community, like a lot of those places are, like everything that happens will happen around there. And so I saw somebody coming out of the thing, and I was like, oh, I should go into the little clothing bank thing and see if there's a blanket for Archie for his bed. And and so I went in there and there was a whole shit ton of stuff. Man, when I very first went into that little place, their little clothing bank, I swear it was so tiny. And now so many people donate all the time. Everybody just donates. And so it's got a lot more clothes and it's got a whole bunch of different stuff. But so there was a bunch of clothes and it was all, there was some hanging and some piled, like some people just come and put it down and then, but there's people who work there and then they go and kind of hang it up and do stuff. And so there was one woman who was standing there and she was just looking at stuff and talking. And then there was another girl on the other side and she was like unloading a big like crate thing of stuff and putting it up. And so I kind of walked over by her and I said, is there any baby blankets? Have you seen any baby blankets? And she was like, oh no, that was just a big donation from some lady or something. So it's mostly all, or it was some clothing exchange thing or something. And she said, so it's mostly all women's stuff. Um, uh, so whatever, but while I was talking to her, right behind her was this coolest fucking hat. There was a stack, 2 stacks of hats, and this one on the top. I was like, oh my God, that's why I'm here. That fucking hat right there. And I reach over there and I get that hat. I was like, I can't even, I'm still so excited about this fucking hat. Like, and what's so trippy too, is speaking about manifesting, is I had seen this, hat creator guy, these hat makers on TikTok. And there's this one, his name was Blaze, I think was the first one I'd seen, Blade or Blaze or something like that. And he made these really cool hats, but he made this like top hat. I was like, oh my God, I love that hat. I want one of those hats. And I think they're super expensive. I think they're like over $1,000. But it's super, super cool. So I kept being like, man, I want a hat like that. And like this top hat thing. And so then when I saw this one and it is I don't know, it's tall like that. And that, but it's a bigger brim. As I was even thinking I could cut that brim back or have that brim cut back or something if I really wanted to. That would totally look like fucking top hat, like that would I got wheeze. I keep on thinking like a chimney sweeper or something would wear. I don't know. It's not very elegant. It looks like it's been worn or something. It doesn't have like the circle on the top. And it reminds me of like a pilgrim hat or something. It is the coolest hat. And and I got a thing for hats and especially like unique hats. And so anyways, I was like, oh my gosh, this hat. And then there was this sweater. So then when I grabbed the hat and I was like, oh my God, I love this hat. And I start walking back over this other thing. The other lady starts saying about a baby blanket, and she holds up some little fabrics and she says something, well, there's some little fabric like this or something. So when she says that, I turn and I look and I see a sweatshirt hanging there that is like a color that like this mauve kind of color. And I was like, it caught my eye and I was like, oh, I love that color. As I do love that color. And then I looked on the back and I thought it said heart on the back. And so I was trying to make out, and this woman's talking to me, and I was trying to read what it said. And it had this like picture of this face on it. And I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I love it. And then it said, make art, not war. And I was like, oh my God, I love this sweatshirt. And so I got this cool ass sweatshirt, this cool ass hat by going there and it being a crowd, not going and pouting and having a fit, just going with the flow. And then this is what I mean about like there's a flow in it and you can resist it. And then oftentimes like you may not have an awareness of your resistance in your life. And I think that's sometimes what people more see when they go to their life review. But that is a disconnect from life, living life in that certain kind of perspective, if you understand what I'm saying. So you can live it in the flow, or you can live in the, like, you know, it could have been like, oh, I'm just going to go get water. I'm not going to go wait in the crowd. Honey, where are you going? Can you come over here and lay by me? Oh, let me go 19 minutes. Can you lay right here? My little lady, come here. See if I can get her face up here. Come here. Come here, my precious. Oh, this baby girl. See if I can get her sore. So, you know what I'm saying. See it right there. Ooh. She's like, oh, I hate being on camera. She has always been that way. If I try and take pictures of her or anything when she was a puppy, she always hated it. It's so funny. And another thing that is really funny that I've noticed is she just ignores the TV. Like, she doesn't sit. Like, it kind of bothers her. And I don't know if it's something with her eyes or whatever, but she doesn't just sit and watch. Like, I see a lot of dogs sit and watch. Archie sits and watches. He will sit and watch the TV. Like, he's like paying attention. And he is, man, there is like 4 or 5 times a day he'll go outside and he'll be running around, and I don't know what his emotional agenda is, but suddenly if it's like he runs the door and he can't get in, so he runs back out in the yard and he starts in with this howling thing. I don't know what it is. I've seen video before of this couple of different French bulldogs, the people pushing them around or having them in their car or something, and they'll just rah, 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 like that, and it's like that. And so he starts doing that, and it's real bitchy. And at first it was really scared. Like, Stella would get scared. Like, everybody would be like, what? And I'm sure the neighbors were like, what the hell is going on over there now? And the other day, the one lady that's such a grump yelled, shut up, to Max. Max was out there barking. It's like, I don't understand how people think dogs are not supposed to use their voice. They're supposed to eat cardboard. They're supposed to entertain us. They're not supposed to have needs. They're not supposed, it's like, Jesus Christ. And so anyways, he will suddenly break out into this crying thing. And now every time he does it, Max and Stella stop whatever they're doing, and they all start, Max will start howling and Stella will start howling, and he sounds like he's doing some kind of like chirpy howl thing in there with them. It's like, oh my God, I'm sure it's really driving that, especially that neighbor over there. I betcha. And plus, she's like, she yells shut up to the dog. She's also the person who will sit out on her deck and talk loud all summer long about her personal business, like really private stuff I would think would be private, but we'll just sit out there and do that. So, you know, I don't know, maybe we all need to start yelling at her, shut up. But I swear to God, I think anybody who, because they've started fights with me, but I've seen people try and start fights with them, and these people are just like, I don't know. They're just nasty kind of people. Is the people who were living next door to him, they were Mexican or something. They didn't speak good English or something. And one night, a few years ago, it was right, I think the first year I had moved in, and I heard all this yelling. It was like 9:30 or 10:30 at night or something. And so I'm sitting by the window, and I like open the window to try and hear what's going on. And I hear them saying a bunch of rude stuff, but I started saying a bunch of racist stuff about them being Mexican or something. I don't remember what it was now, but it was rude as fuck. I couldn't believe it. I was like, God damn, those people are rude. They're just don't fight with everybody. But then they have like this family, like their houses come and go, come and go. I don't know, maybe they're drug dealers. I don't fucking know. But it's the same people come and go all day long. So maybe they got a really tough habit. I don't know. I always think it's like their kids. And then I think they have grandkids and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they just need more space out to themselves. Maybe they're just bitter and closed in and angry. I'm not sure what their deal is. But anyways, and sometimes I wonder if I'm picking up on their energy. Whereas something is bugging my nose. And I don't have my handkerchief with me. You know, you just don't ever know whose energy you're picking up on. When you start feeling things, it's like, there's no reason I would feel this way. Where would this be coming from? And right now, oh my God, it's so intense. It's so intense, and I'm so excited. I feel so excited about the room, and I feel so excited that I'm like finishing the projects. Like I just did the in the shower. There was the part where it had to be repaired before, and so it had like a spectacle, I don't know, a blemish, a big area that was cut out of the tiles, and I don't think it looked good. And but I kept thinking, okay, well, I got to take the whole tub out because that's what I was told, and take out all the tile. Like I got to redo this whole freaking bathroom, and insurance wasn't going to pay. And then the prices all got jacked up on the fucking inflation bullshit that they were doing. And everything was so cheap before, right before. Like if you weren't doing any projects and stuff, you may not know, but things were super cheap, and then they just jacked up the prices. And then all of a sudden, all these developers run in and start building all these places up and charging people. Like the whole thing is such shenanigans. So fucking scammy people. So many scammy people. And I'm telling you, you watch how the tables turn. There's gonna be people gonna be losing stuff all over. And I like this Rockefeller guy, just his house just burned up in Hollywood Hills tonight. And it's they're saying like he's a millionaire, billionaire, or old Rothschild guy, and he never came out of his house, just stayed in his house all the time. And all his neighbors are millionaires and mansions and whatnot. And so but everybody liked him. He's a good neighbor. Never even met the guy, but he's a good neighbor because he just stays to himself or whatever. But anyways, I guess the house was kind of dilapidated and hoarder houses, they were thinking. And that was what they had said, but they said it was so burned up that they couldn't really um, tell what part was the house broken and what part was just all the junk. But he was an old guy living up there. But all these different ones, like that guy could be somebody who's shapeshifted for centuries or something. He reset. He gets a new body or something. So, and then maybe he was cut off, and then they start dilapidating and going like it, in the vampire movies when they put the stake in them, like they look all young, and then they put the stake in them and they age, and then sometimes they just turn to dust and go off. I think some of these people are like that. Like they're something's dried up. I was thinking even on some of these people, because of the way that they jump into different bodies and stuff, that it is more of like their consciousness that they've got in like I don't know. I think that some of this stuff is that we're gonna find out. Well, I don't even know if we'll find out all this stuff, but some of this stuff is way more sci-fi than what we would think. Especially when you see these movies and the stuff is that was already going for all that time. So it's even more sophisticated at that point. And at that point, they could take consciousness out from an old guy and just change it into a young body all the time. So and it's way more advanced now. And they were already cloning people and then sending them out so other people could put theirs in. And, and I'm still curious about what the hell is going on with these, starlets or whatever who are going out looking like some kind of a doll that don't look human. Like how, and especially when they were looking so raggedy, and then all of a sudden they look like better than they've ever looked in their whole life, better than they looked when they were young. They don't even look like themselves. Now they don't even have their same voices either, so I don't know what shenanigans are going on. There's a lot of shenanigans going on in this whole fucking thing. And we'll just have to see how stuff plays out. Oh, the food thing was the food thing, but there was something else back from that. Because the food thing, I just don't understand how people don't, because so many people are in denial about that. Like, people get mad about it. And it's like, you really think that people are handling your food right? What was this? Oh, this one's Wendy's. So we already know all this gross ass stuff. Like, if you don't follow the stuff on, McDonald's, and maybe you'll know if the different places have been closed down that have had human remains, actual parts and stuff in the places. Like, it's been in the news and in different places. I don't know. There's been a couple. And there's been a bunch of weird stuff about McDonald's news things. You have to go and look, and like, I don't know how much Google scrubs it. If it's just like you have to catch somebody in the local area talking about it, showing the news about it, or something like that. That's what the benefit of TikTok is you see, but you have to go through a lot of stuff to see stuff. That's why I like appreciate like Amy goes through stuff like when you get to see some of the stuff you don't have to go through so many because there's a lot of stuff that and then plus when you're going through the things and you see so many sad things, so many it's like if you could just go and just find but you just got to run across that stuff. So, because you don't even know what you're looking for in some cases. Oh, which, like I wouldn't have thought to look for this, is the super volcano is going off. And the guy I saw talking about that, he said, oh, I think they're making a bigger deal out of it than they need to be. And I'm like, fuck. And I don't know what he was saying, that they're saying something about the lava or whatever. And he was showing from the aerial thing or something, the red lava going across the snow and how it's moving so slow. I don't think there's any concern and why they're making such a big deal and stuff. I was like, he goes in, if it goes, like if it really blows, it's already going. It's already done some kind of thing that's blown, the lava's coming out, but it hasn't done the big blow, whatever the thing that they put into the movies that they said was going to happen if it goes. Because when it goes, it's supposed to take out, like you can look it up on, there's a map that shows, but the super volcano of Yellowstone, and then there's like a red zone, a yellow zone, a green zone, or something like that. There's zones of how bad it's going to affect. And there's a huge, huge zone that is going to be like that whole place is wiped out. All those people, all that place. Because of, I don't even remember what it is. If it's the fumes or what it is, I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, when they put that stuff in documentaries and stuff, like you just go look up the super volcano documentaries and see. And I don't know if the scientists on those are just trying to make it sound so much worse to scare us. And maybe this guy knows something. Oh, it's not that big a deal. But he said that if it does go, that it would probably be a year of ash up in the sky, which that will affect agriculture, affect a lot of stuff. And see, I had heard that's in that documentary too. So you just have to make up your own mind of what you think. But there's activity, there's stuff going on. This one girl that I follow who's in Southern California, she said every single day there's a loud popping sound, a loud sound, and then the ground starts shaking. And she said it's freaking her out, but every day. And I think she said it a couple of days, there's been a couple times. But she said there's always like this loud sound, and then there's this shaking and shaking and shaking. And I'm sure that's like the tectonic plates. And there's got to be scientists, what is that called? Monitoring it. And you would think that they would do some kind of mass evacuation, but see, the governing forces don't know what to do with the people. They don't. I was like, what are you going to do? You're going to tell them all to leave? You're going to have utter chaos on the freeways. You're going to have people freaking out. And so a lot of the stuff, they're just going to let this stuff happen. And I think that is going to be one of the things of when Donald starts those freedom cities. I think it's going to be another lure to get people out of the places, but in a more productive way rather than in a crazy evacuation. So I don't know. Elegant Witchery, you can also chime in and say, because you're down there by Southern California, aren't you? So if you've been hearing that or feeling all the shaking or whatever, it's going to keep on. It's going to keep on settling or something. Everything is shifting. And it's like shifting from like the core. It's like the whole reality. It's like everything is like this hugest shift. And it's weird because like nothing's real anyways. But it still is like this whole shift from inside the earth is shifting and changing the whole thing. And to me, that's why it just always seems like, like the earth is rolling over. Like she's just, because when I'm laying and I have to keep rolling over and rolling over to try and get comfortable, then, and especially like if you are got your arm outside of the blanket and it's cold or something, or you're too hot inside or whatever, and you've been in that same position, and then it's like it feels good to change, like to put your arm in the blanket, take the blanket off of the hot parts, but so it's, you got to think everything micro, macro, everything is like the same experience on different levels and from different perspectives and stuff. Because then you're talking about the perspective of this being or this soul that is, it's able to, it's like a source. It's like an able to give a whole entire reality to all these other, um, to me, it almost looks like we, the souls, are like bacteria or something. Oh yeah, it looks like there was when my kids were little, we went camping. We went camping all the time. My husband was real outdoorsy. That's why he thought I was such a shallow, because I was more of a, I like to go dancing. I like to, we were very different, and you just don't realize that. And then there's there's a push pull, but somebody's gonna get where somebody gets more lost. And so we went camping all the time, and there was this one time we were sitting there and we're eating, and this big giant beetle flies in, because we would go to the lake all the time. We had a boat and stuff, so we would camp at the lake, and we would go to this one at Priest Lake in Idaho, where you would go out in your boat and there was a little island, so you could go get your own little place and camp out there, or go to more remote places around the waterways. So anyways, it was that's what we would do. So we would go, it wouldn't be like in a camp area, it would be out in like some little remote place in the forest. He was somebody who liked to go out and hike and be quiet, so you could run into a bear. Like, he ran into a lot of them. So I'm like, yeah, let's make noise. Like, I don't want to run into a bear. But I want to go look for Bigfoot. But he did drive me around to go look for Bigfoot. So I did get to go look for Bigfoot, kind of, not really, but at least it was acknowledged. Yeah, we're looking for Bigfoot right now. So, anyways, the what was I going to say? Oh yeah, because this big beetle goes and flies down, and it was the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because you're sitting there eating, and you're taken by all of us, every single one of us, I think, put our food down, and nobody could take another bite. It was this big giant beetle flies in and sets down, and about a trillion little tiny beetles go off of him and just start going all over the place, like they go insane, and they start climbing all over it. It was the most horrible looking thing, even though it's like so sweet, and oh, look at, they all want to be on top. It was so chaotic and so creepy. And that is kind of how I see us on the earth. Like, that's what we are to the earth. We are all just scampering around. So anyway, she's got to like move around a little bit. And so the shifts are natural. It's not something that we really need to fear, but we need to be aware of. And that's the same thing in all of nature, is we don't need to be in fear. We need to be aware. We need to pay attention. And that is the part of where they try and keep people distance from their attention abilities, or from their instincts. That's one thing that people are very cut off from, like their instincts and their more complex thinking. They're more questioning things. The more what is that? The con, okay, just a second. I'm trying to say it. I can't see it good. Because it's a book I read before. Not complex. But it's more of the ability to think and question things, to look outside the box, and to is not even just a wonder, but to question, like when something happens or somebody says something, critical thinking. Yeah, that's what it is. That was a book that I had to read in one of my times going to school. I don't know, it was a book about critical thinking. But that is something that a lot of people, but they do all this stuff on purpose. You know, they make it where people are cut off from their instincts and their critical thinking because they don't want people to do that. And they figured out ways to control that. And they started in, you know, when people are young and in the programming. And then they kind of do these testing to see in our different categories. And then they know how to direct our minds and our ways of doing things. Oh yeah, because it was about the liberal thing of pulling people in by wanting to be more activist, of everybody to be treated fairly and stuff like that. But then it becomes where they don't realize that they're it really is building like this self-inflated like kind of thing, because then they can't accept people who are different than them, and it creates all these biases and stuff. Like there needs to be way more of our focus of being accepting other people. And I just saw a video too that said that you can what was it? Because you change everything starts healing better and doing better by you change all of your body chemistry by your attitude. So when you are feeling just like sorry for yourself and everything sucks, then and nothing's working good. Like you're causing decay almost in your body. But when you start feeling like positive and I swear to God, you get it from just looking at things as like, you know, seeing the positive side of things, seeing the lessons, seeing the blessings and stuff, that you can change your attitude towards how you look at things. So rather than being bitter and angry and going around feeling decay and decrepit inside of yourself, because that's what you're creating is disease. And instead to be thinking positive and thinking about the bright side and being excited and having gratitude. Like if that's all you can find for the day, you know, is like, God, I'm just going to be grateful today that I'm here. You know, I'm here. I'm getting this experience. I'm getting to feel what it feels like to be alive right here, right now. You know, whatever you can find to get excited about. And that raises, well, I think it does all that stuff with your serotonin, all those things, but it changes how your brain works. And I was thinking that I bet you this has to do with why I am rebuilding some of this stuff. Like there's some things that it trips me out of how much my brain is healing and stuff, like with memory and stuff, like some of the things is but also memory to me is an access into the universal mind. And but it still is building like roadways or some pathways. And so it was saying that the cayenne pepper uh, builds like the cortex between the frontal lobe, and my damage was the frontal lobe and the temporal lobe. And the so it rebuilds all of this stuff in your mind, in your brain. But it does more things than that too. Oh no, the cayenne pepper also does that. Also does things for your brain. But no, it's the being happy, finding joy, and seeing purpose and stuff. See why they don't want us to have that? They don't want us to feel happy. They don't want us to find joy and stuff, because then we don't need them. And how do they survive? Because they survive off of us, because they're parasites. They need us to work. They need our energy. They're a bunch of old fucking relics, man. Who knows? Like, I mean, to even feel, they don't even feel. They do the most depraved things and they don't feel. It doesn't, you know, have an effect on them. So they're a bunch of just old relic-y vampire people. Like, I don't know. I'm just glad that things are shifting. I'm glad that their time's up and they get I don't know, burn up in little hoarder houses where they gather all their things or something. Um, and cut themselves off. Probably because they fucking maybe they couldn't hold their shape very well. I don't know. I don't know. But there's a lot of these different ones, like all sorts of different people going down in these I don't know, horrific situations, that's for sure. But some are like kids too. There's lots of sad stuff with kids. Because there was a car wreck that just happened with a bunch of kids or a bunch of teenagers in the car. It was like some Tesla pickup thing or Tesla something, and it blew up or something, and started on fire immediately on impact. And that to me is kind of like these martyr souls that are kind of bringing attention to things for humanity as humanity moves forward to see like, oh, this draws attention because that draws attention for kids and this horrible tragedy thing, whatever age they were, like 15, 16 years old or something. And that draws a lot of attention. So that is, to me, those kinds of storylines where it's like, these, I look at these martyr souls as like super fantastic. I mean, they are like angelic. And I just saw this little clip thing, and it said the angels in the world are really it shows this guy, and he's not like all fixed up or anything. He just kind of looks like a, not like a thug or anything, but just like, I don't know. Like, you would look at him probably and think like, oh, that guy's like a street guy on drugs or something. And as he's walking, like he'll just push somebody out of the way. And then all of a sudden, as he pushes them back and they fall, then something nearly misses them. And then he keeps going and he knocks this kid. And when he trips this one kid, and that kid was chasing his ball, and his car hit and crushed the ball. And so it was all these things where this guy does this thing that's like near misses, because you can't die before your time. And there is a force that goes around us to make sure that that doesn't happen, because I've had those things happen before. And you are protected until it's your time to go, and then you go. But there is a lot of different people here doing different roles, playing different things. And there is a lot of about the system and about how we've been living and stuff, that these really extreme kind of storylines and stuff are to get our attention, because it's a wave of change. It creates change. And, these people, they don't really die, they don't really leave. They just leave this storyline, and we're about to start a new storyline. So that is one thing, that I don't know. I think that we all need to be telling ourselves is like, everybody who's leaving is going to be, they're not gone. This is the ending of this story, and we're going to be starting a new story. And so there's just some of the characters that we get to continue from one story to the next. And other ones, like I would think it's going to be some different. I don't know, because that whole thing about being on heaven, walking on, being on earth, heaven on earth or something like that, where the living and the dead walk together or something. And so I would think there would still be some people, though, who would not come back as themselves. They would come back through reincarnation so that they can get a new experience. And so it would be a lot of different things. It would be versatile. And it may not be that everybody even knows all the things, because it's going to go back into other realities. Once we go through this kind of thing, it's going to go back to how it was before, where we all were just like living in our own realities. But now we're going to be more expanded and have the awareness that there's other realities. And we're going to have the abilities to be able to go out and explore other realities, go out and meet people, go out and have experiences. And so that is going to be an elevation for humanity, because humanity has been an enslaved race for so long. And now they're going to get an opportunity to live as the free beings that they always were. Oh, yeah, on Thanksgiving, because, yeah, because the people now, it's don't celebrate Thanksgiving and stuff, which tomorrow is Indigenous People Day, which Indigenous People Day, we got to remember, are all of our tribe people, because some of us are lab babies. and all of our tribe people, all the original people, but most of us are ancestors, so we are in those family lines because it all is these different tribes, but all of these different ones. And so if you're not, there's even a thing like if your soul is a colonizer or whatever, believes in this agenda, that it would be something what they're learning. But I think most of us have gone through this some kind of period of time that of being uh, a part of this lineage, all of this beginning of from these tribes that have been going since ancient times or whatever. And so the so anyways, tomorrow's the celebration of, all of the human tribe, I think. And this to me is just everybody's off work and everybody wants to eat this dinner because everybody gets in the mood for it at this time of year. And so when my daughter, the activist one, who was like, "Wow, we're against Thanksgiving," and she had this big fit about Thanksgiving, and I was like, "Well, it's not like a celebration. I mean, what are we celebrating? We're just getting together and eating, and it's like a day everybody has off, and so it's like, let's get together and eat together. But what are we celebrating? We're giving thanks for having food." But it's not like we're celebrating, yay, Christopher Columbus came and he killed all these, which then, that story's not even true. There's so many stories that they tell in different realities in different countries and stuff. They give every country a different storyline. It's crazy. I just heard another one. I don't remember what it was, but it was crazy because it wasn't what we're told. They tell different ones, different stories. So it's all just a bunch of fucking bullshit. And I swear to God, they're all made up. I swear to God, I think Anne Frank was made up. I think all these things. I think it's fucking so much made up shit. Or it could have been, just a fantasy book or whatever. One thing too that I saw somebody talking about was that there was, what was it? They said they watched something or it was a book or something. And it was, how could they have known that this was going to happen? How could they have known exact? Oh, it was on the Hunger Game things because this girl was talking about like, what in the hell with the clothes and the hair and stuff. And when I saw Hunger Games, I thought nobody is going to ever act like that or dress like that or whatever. And she said, now I see it. We're going like and starting to look like that. She said, she's seen so many people look like the one Effie, I think one, the crazy one, can't remember the actress who plays her, but one of the I think she's talking about one of the judges or whatever those people are, and she was saying, how could this author know, or whoever, how could they know what the people were going to start wearing in like at this time? How could people even think like people would start doing their hair weird like this and stuff? And uh but this is the part where I'm talking about, I was talking about it a few weeks ago, I think, was creative people when they go into these certain headspaces, this information's out there. Like you can see into the future, you can see into things. When you think you're going into your imagination, you're going into places that you're seeing things. There are other realities, there's other worlds, and you're looking in. It's like you're going in where you think you're going into your imagination, you're going into other worlds. You're looking around. And so I'm not surprised at all. Like all of these different things I've said that some of these people who are creators or creative people, writers and stuff like that, are seeing into the future or stuff like that, movie ones, whatever, different ones. So that's where their ideas are coming from, is out there in space and time. So that's what I think. Anyways, that's how I see it. And so let me think. So Thanksgiving, I don't see it as a celebration, and I see it totally like that, like as a manipulation to as if it's the elitist colonizer people's racist thing to make this celebration that is an actual slap in the face to the indigenous people, then that is the more of the governing thing. It's not all of the people. I just think that there's stuff where they don't see it the way that it really is because they're living from this other perspective. But when you are living in the perspective of it being, your holiday. To me, like, I'm not celebrating a holiday. I'm going to cook this food and I'm excited to cook it. I'm excited to see the dogs get so excited. I made their soup. They even had some in the middle of the night. They were so excited. They had like 3 bowls or 2 bowls. Stella had, I think, 3 bowls. They had like 2 bowls each. Because I don't want me to get too, like, about all that turkey bone stuff. It adds so much meat in there. I put the wings in there too, and or whatever. I think there might have been some other meat or whatever, thigh or something. But it was very, very thick stew, kind of turkey stew that I made them, and they are really liking that. Today I'm going to cook that other stuff. But to me, I even start craving it. It's like, oh man, that sounds good. Yams and uh, green, what is that? Green bean casserole and all the different things, whatever you had, like at certain periods of time, you just start craving them. I don't know. I mean, like that's like something you have to break in your own thing, like an addiction, like all the programming and all of the stuff are like set programs of like we've been indoctrinated and all that stuff. And so all the things are breaking down your programs, breaking free from mind control. And you have to, you know, it's more of an intention. Like you have to have more awareness. And it depends on where you stand on it. And if you really feel like, Thanksgiving is really horrible and I'm not going to do it and I'm not going to eat that food ever again, which I don't know what's going to happen about the food thing still. I think a lot of things are going to keep changing about the food thing because it isn't. Who could work like that? Like, I think even that is kind of crucial. Like for us to look at it our own selves, that we think, oh yeah, well, we'll just get Mikey to do it. Mikey can go kill all the animals for us. Just give us the animals once they're dead because we don't want to do the dirty work. And it's like, of course these people's minds are going to break. And like I said, I'm sure they're pumping stuff into the vents. Like, I swear to God, that has been proven before. Like at, the malls or something. I don't remember what it was called on, but it was something about they were pumping something in to make people more calm or spend more money or some bullshit. So, I'm sure they do it in these big manufacturing places, especially places where you are inside these giant buildings all day long. And I'm sure they're saying like, oh, we pump in all this extra oxygen and stuff to make it really good. But I'm sure it's laced with some kind of stuff. I'm sure they're dosed with something. That is, and that is how the espionage works, is that there would be a testing crew. There's testing on them. That's the micro, macro. Everybody's like, it's weird because it's like this person's looking at this person's looking at this person's looking at this person. And you don't even know which person you are in the line. But basically, until you wake up, you are right here and everything is watching you. And then once you start waking up and you start taking more control, but everything is in control of you until you take some kind of control. And it's controlling you through, it's weird because it's like through the AI and stuff too. It's like it is like the phones capture you. And even like if I go on TikTok, all of a sudden you just see like, what am I doing? And yeah, it's like you got to just intentionally go like, I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm putting this down and doing something else because your mind gets like absorbed in it. Like, and this was something that I noticed. And I don't remember why I started noticing it, but start noticing how much you just look at your phone. Just like you can be doing nothing. And it's like, oh, I should look at my phone. I gotta check my phone. I gotta look and see what's on my phone. And it's like, it's just like draw, like an addiction. It's habitual. It's something that we all need to learn how to break. But it's, those kinds of things are what they do. It's all, there's a whole insidious part to the control of humanity, and through the mind control and through the mindless control, mindless spending. Buy it because somebody else told you it's a good thing. All of the different things. Everything is about us being able to stop going on autopilot. Stop just being a force that is driven by an outsider, an outside mechanism, for you to begin to be more contained in your own thoughts by living in intention. Just like, to me, I think, going into the food bank thing. And the first 2 days, when I walked up and it was just like boom, in and out, it was like, fuck, that is sweet deal, man. And then when I went to that time, and then it totally was like, okay, yeah, sometimes you gotta pay the piper. Okay, I get it. And can't always just get nothing, get something for nothing. Sometimes you gotta give a little something. And then being up there and being around the people, I just like the energy anyways, where everybody's just like talking and hanging out. It's just really cold. And a lot of times it's raining, so it's just like, it's just not comfortable. It's cold. And, but anyways, so whatever it was that then drew me into things. So when went into the parking lot, I could have, been like, oh, I should just go get water and just come back. I can just get back and get it. Then, I don't know. That could have worked too. See, everything is a thing, but you're always going to do the thing that you did. And that's the thing that's already set up for you. And that's why you're going to always feel the strongest instinct to do the thing that's set up for you already, because you go into this life, it's set. It's like the only way I can describe it is it's written in the stars, and you're just in the performance. You're in the replay. You're in the slow down version, but everything is written in the stars. And so it's like, and you're taking like the viewfinder and you're watching it play out. And but it gives you the feeling of you getting to be the character. So it's like you choose the character, you choose the template, you choose the role, and then all of your uh it's weird how everything just goes together like that. It does sometimes, it does seem like that you are your whole soul group or something, but we're all so connected, but we are distinct because we all feel our own selves of being feelings, and we can see the different ships and the different stars and all of the different things. We know that we are all separate beings, but it's weird because it's like, we're all so connected. But that's the part that you got to see more in the living situation of your connection to all the things, the animals and everything. And people keep themselves disconnected from so many things, and they disconnect, which keeps you disconnected from different aspects of life. But you can only connect to what you can connect to. You're only going to connect to what you're supposed to connect to, because you're only here to learn what you're here to learn. And you can't learn all things. You can't be learning what I'm learning because you got what you're learning. And we all have our own, our own distinct, unique learning um, our own lesson plan. And but you get all of this whole group, and it's so big and it's so well established because everybody, the connections, just like that lady saying something to me that got me to turn my head, my eye catches that color, I look over, I'm like, oh my God, I love this sweatshirt. And it is, I don't know, like the bottom down here, it looks like somebody worked and got dirty or whatever. So it looks kind of stained or something right down there. But it also is one of those that's got like those washed out look kind of, but all of the writing is still really good. The tag, it's a good brand. One thing I noticed about was how thick the sweatshirt material was. I was like, fuck, this is a nice sweatshirt. And then the hat. And the whole thing of just seeing the lady working over there and then turning, like, I don't know, because you could keep yourself cut off from so many things out of anxiety. Like, there's people who would walk up and see other people standing there and turn around and walk away. And then you could be missing out on something that's right there for you, a conversation, anything. But that is the parts where we keep ourselves cut off from the life experience to just go in and experience. And then you just run across these like, fuck, I love that. Oh man, that's so cool. And these things come to you. Like the universe just gives you little gifts throughout the time. Little things come to you. One day I was walking out there on the highway. It was when my car was broken down and I had to go get it. And I'm walking and, so I'm looking at the ground so I don't trip because there's all sorts of stuff. And there was a necklace, a chain, a silver chain laying there. And somebody's chain had broke. It might have been gold. I don't remember. But anyways, I have it back in that other room. And I was like, stuff like that. Like, because it could be still, like, I don't know. I haven't had it checked. But it could be silver. It could have some kind of value. It could be gold. It could have some kind of value. I don't remember. It did seem like I did look at it. And it did seem like, I don't know why it seemed like 10 karat or 14 karat. Like I did see a tag or something. I don't know. I don't know. I could be just seeing that in my head of another thing or another situation or whatever. But sometimes that is where it's hard to me to keep all the things of like, what's real and what's not real. Because really, what's real and what's not real. Like, you can go into a dream and it's just as real as this real world. It was a movie I was watching yesterday with Barbara Stanwyck, and she was having such a problem between the dream world and the real world. And she had some people who were messing with her because, of course, greed, because she was married to someone rich, and they killed him off, so then they had to kill her off. And it's so crazy too, because both the men who she's trying to trust and they're both like telling her how much they like her, both of them are trying to kill her. It's like, oh yeah. And this woman, I had just seen this Uber lady, and so she had to go pick up this girl. And she said that the girl got in her car, and she's like this young girl who's dressed cute and real bubbly and real excited. And she's going for this hour drive to go meet this guy who she's never met before. She's never done anything but text with this person. And the Uber driver, she's an older woman, and she's got like every red flag. She's just like, oh my God, oh my God. And the girl is saying, oh, he's really rich. And she's like, well, she doesn't have his phone number. And the guy said he's got a friend who's going to make her a model. And she's so excited. She's going to go meet him. And she's just going to become a model now and all this stuff. So she had this whole thing. And she's just carrying on just, and no matter what the older lady would say, the girl would just laugh like, oh, that's so silly. He's not going to hurt me. And nothing's going to happen and all that stuff. And so the lady said, well, could I give you my phone number in case there's any problem? And also I'm going to call and check in on you. So if you give me your phone number, and I want to check and make sure everything's okay and stuff. And so she did end up talking to her to me. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, this girl obviously doesn't know how many girls have found who have gone on this same kind of situation or found dismembered. There's ones that, the one guy who was, I think there has been 2 of these cannibal guys that have been found that they were going and getting these hookup dates and taking them back and just chowing down. Then, because they find remains and stuff, like, it's Dahmer shit. He made headlines about nowadays. It's just like, yeah, he just doesn't, whatever. So I'm like, God damn. Boy, we have really changed. I mean, even seeing that that Smith singer guy and seeing that how fetishy. Like, that is something you would see down in the red district of New Orleans. Now it's just like center stage. Come on, people. We live in Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's enjoy it. And it's just eat our bloody way through it. And so let me think where I was on this rant. My wheezing. And we went for a long walk yesterday, so I was out breathing this fucking nonsense for a long day, or a long while yesterday. But let me think what it was I was saying. So, the fetish world that we live in, that just to me is just like, oh, I don't know, it's just so desperate. So desperate. Like, why do you need to walk around in your underwear to try and get somebody to want to have sex with you or whatever? Oh yeah, so the girl on the date, so the women did an update on the video, so I went to go and see what the update was. And so she did talk to the girl again, and the girl was very, very upset because, and she ended up having to call her dad to come pick her up. But so she goes and meets the guy. He was real nice, takes her to meet his friend who's going to make her into a model, but it's a gentleman's club. So she's real cute. She could work at this gentleman's club, and she'll be a model at the gentleman's club. And so they're trying to talk her into it and giving her this nice dinner. And she calls her dad to go. But she told the woman, how sad she was. She's so disappointed. She feels so bad. And she can't believe she believed him and stuff like that. And I can remember being young and, like that, and thinking, oh, this person's going to help me. And there's so many liars out there. But nowadays, there's so many of these people that they're not just fucking trying to get them to take these jobs. Some of them are forced into the jobs. Some of them are forced into shipping containers. Some of them are forced down to plates. Some of them, like, it's like not a good thing, especially being a young, cute girl right now. I think you got to really be aware. You got to really be paying attention. And to them, because they don't have much life experience, that just seems kind of crazy and paranoid. They're still more excited and trusting. And that's what gets taken advantage of. That's why these people need to be more in our society. It's like kids need to be more protected for more longer, too. We need to have less predatory behavior and more nurturing behavior. More of like when you see somebody and neat, like this woman, just wanting to, tell her. And then also the crazy thing, too, is in the soul world, is like this girl is going to this thing. She had all the signs right there. It's like a little angel in the car trying to tell her this and tell her that, warn her, get her to think about this stuff. And I was just glad that she didn't end up having a worse thing happen. And then, she had this angel in the car trying to talk her out of it, but she still went. But that is what happens all the time to people. People don't realize, like, you have somebody coming into your life at different times trying to give you direction, but you're resistant to it. And it's not like you're wrong for being resistant to it. But that is going to be a lesson. That's going to be something you're going to look at in a life review. And if you want to try and understand like the things that you're looking at in life and trying to watch, go read a bunch of near-death experiences. Go read a bunch of where the people have gone through their life reviews and what it is that they pay attention to, what it is that they look at, what it is they're told while they're over there, what it is that they need to focus on. Because it's very much the same all the time. It's not scattered. And so you can get a consistent view and then make your own decision. But I think it helps you to look at things through life, because then you see like, oh, this is the stuff, like they get over there and then they're like, oh my gosh, she was right there and she told me not to go and I still went. Why didn't I listen? Why wasn't I listening to the signs? Why wasn't I paying attention? Why was I following my desires and not reading what the universe was giving me direction towards? Because we all do that, but it's lessons. I'm not saying that you're wrong for doing it, but I think that you can be more mindful and you can change the things that you want to change. And those kinds of things are not, those kinds of impulses, like there's a spontaneity that is good, but there's also being too impulsive can be dangerous. And so you need to, have a mindfulness, have a stop and take a moment and think it through and look at it, from as many possibilities as possible, as many perspectives try and see. One thing is always try and see the darker side, because there is nothing that has a light side that doesn't have a dark side. Everything has a flip side. And that's the thing that I think is super exciting, is because we're about to flip this record. We're about to go on the flip side. We're about to flip this life over. This is going to be the flip side of life. And that is going to be, it's going to be so fucking nice for so many people. So many people who are more comfortable in the light, like where you think of like, oh, the conservatives or whatever. That's your own biases if you've got a problem with that. That is built off of um, their divisive tactics over a narrative. And so it's much more of a moralistic kind of more pure of heart kind of way. And you want to be fetish in your own house or something, then that's fine. It's like you do you. But for it to be accepted mainstream thing, and for it to be so much in our kids' lives, and to see what is happening to the kids because of it, and we've got this whole promiscuous just sleep around, sleep with everybody, and it's such a dangerous way of living. And now we've got all this sickness that's going to be proving that, because we've got the introduction again of the 80s sickness. And so there is going to be that huge sweep of that, which I can only hope everything is just going to be hitting the surface. It's going to be that scare tactic thing, and then the med beds are going to come in and save the day. Because there's going to be so fucking many sick people. And I think all of us, I don't think anybody doesn't want to get in those med beds that knows about them. And plus wanting to get, like, I want my Stella for sure. I want her in one. And even if things turned around and I could just get the quantum system, I would just get the quantum system and have it. I would set up a room in my house with the quantum system, but there were so many of those places that opened over the last few years. It's flooded. Like when I went 3 years ago to the one, and there was only two that had 24 units. They said, because when I was calling around after Stella got sick, and because she'd always been sick, she always had her autoimmune issues, but then all of a sudden one day she couldn't get up, and her face was drooping, and it seemed like she had a stroke. The neighbor thought she had a stroke, but the vet was trying to tell me no, she had an inner ear infection, but it seemed to last for 6 months, and it's supposed to last for a couple weeks. So I think she had a stroke, or it could have been some kind of brain tumor. It could be anything like that. And so I went and took her to the only med bed things that were available at the time, and it was the enhanced energy system, the quantum system. And so they have they're like TV screens, and they all put out this certain frequency, and it comes in this color and movement pattern and stuff, but they all put out these ones, and then it has this real optimal so that you heal, but they are ones that you need to have access to all the time. And so there's people who go to these all the time. And we had to do a whole road trip. I was even sleeping in the car to do it. It was intense. And but I was determined. And we got down to Newport. And that's also been a big part of my journey. Because some people don't know a part of my journey with brain injury and my claim back to independence, and being able to go and drive myself around and do any of this stuff, and going on road trips was a really big thing. And so we went and went to Southern California and took her into that one, and we spent the night. And it was 24 units. And at the time, like I said, they said there was only two of those, and that she would need to have that for what I was trying to do. And then this place would let me do overnight and bring in my dog, because I got overnight. So I paid $500 to have it for the whole night. And then Stella got to come in and sleep with me. So her and I just went in there, and we got like at 7:30 at night until 7:30 the next morning. And so we went in there and just stayed in there and slept mostly. And And then she started getting better and better and better, but they were like, "Well, it can be temporary and you need to keep detoxing." So see, it has to do so much with lifestyle. Has to do with detoxing. Like you have to get your chemicals out. And then, now to find out like the depriving of minerals was to keep us out of sync, to keep us sick and stuff. So to get there to be a lack of minerals, so you need to replace minerals. And which I just saw a guy talking about iodine too, and he was saying that that makes cysts and tumors go away. When they used to have iodine and stuff in our food, nobody got those. Once that they started having, they started putting in something else, bromine or something like that, that and replaced it with the iodine with this other chemical compound, that people started getting tumors and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that would work on Stella. So I'm thinking in that I think I'm getting one of these little things, tincture things, and I'm going to try it and see if that makes any difference. But anyways, so the every time I go off on a thing, I get lost. So the iodine, going backwards to the oh, dang it. So easy to go off. So easy to keep going, but then once you get to the thing, then it's like, but where was I? What was I doing talking back here? So, anyways, the wait a second, because I feel lost for a minute. Okay, so, the tincture, okay, going back from the iodine, and, oh yeah, okay, so the minerals, so they've got everybody depleted of minerals, and then so on your lifestyle you need to be detoxing, you need to be replacing minerals, and then healing your mental health, because that is going to put your body back into order, back into working condition. And so you need to release this stuff energetically that you hold on to. That gives you anger, pain, distract, whatever it is. And then, so the, but these quantum systems, so because there was a one guy, like a doctor, and he had gotten the whole system, so he has the whole system set up in his house. And the woman in the interview, who was the one who just figured it out or makes them or whatever, she said that doctor's hair started turning back from white. He his old injuries, like he had some old knee injury or something, all of his stuff started repairing. His hair started turning back, his skin started turning back, his I think he started growing hair back. Everything started going backwards in age, because this aging thing isn't real. Aging is really the depletion of our minerals and stuff, and unhealthy lifestyle that ends up killing us off. And so when you are going in that direction, like your hair's turning white, you're already on that, in that direction, going towards death. It really is. You're being depleted. My mom had that one friend who was the pharmacist, and she told me this a long time ago, and he would tell her this all the time. And he said the thing about people is that they have certain enzymes they need, and everybody needs these enzymes. Like your body can't function if you don't have these enzymes. And he said, and everybody's enzymes keep getting depleted, and it's like once those are all the way depleted, you just stop, you just die. You can't keep going without them. And she would tell me that, and I would always think, well, yeah, it makes sense that about what she would tell me. But she said that was like something he would talk about all the time. And but that goes along with this whole thing, with these enzymes, these minerals, the things that our body needs. And when we don't have them, and we just keep going, and we're getting sicker, and we're getting tired, and we got this illness and that illness, and they just tell us, oh, it's aging, it's this, oh, you got the autoimmune, you got this, you got that. And we're getting more and more depleted, and sicker and sicker, and we're just dying off. That's another part of their fucking game. but then you have to catch on and you have to see. And so when you do the quantum system and it raises the vibration, so us raising our vibration, taking care of ourselves and stuff extends our life to at this point. It's looking like that there is no end in sight. Like it extends our life, like the things that have been killing us off is well, accidents too, but also that they can take you right from an accident and put you in a med bed and heal all of the wounds, all of the things. So all the things that have been killing us off were things that they were using against us. They don't have to continue. So once we start going at that approach, it's going to change things. So we're not going to be sick. But to me, having one of those things like that doctor, but it's like you have to have that kind of money to be able to afford one. And then, so when I was looking, what was it? I don't know if I was looking for, somebody had said something about the EES system or something. I don't know, but I went to go look, and it is completely different now. There's tons of different 24 units. There's so many places that they have been opening them, and they're all over the place. And she had said that they were really backed up before trying to make them all because they had so many orders. So many people were ordering them and opening these little healing centers. And but the only thing is, these aren't like the med beds is like what we're waiting for, like the military med beds. These ones are more of a, to me, like, well, we all need these in our house. That's what to me seems like, that we all need these vibration kind of things, like a red light, like we all need these in our house, and that it does something to raise our vibration. So I don't know that those healing things will, it's going to be curious to see how this all plays out, with all of the different healing and stuff, because it's going to be, the record's going to flip. We're going on the flip side in all this direction where people are going and not taking care of themselves, unhealthy lifestyle, just trying to go from one event to the next to make themselves feel good, distract themselves, enjoy life, have fun. All of these things are going to go boom, abrupt stop and flip. And then it's going to give everybody, the whole thing is to give everybody a look at themselves, because it's like a life review. You're going to look at your own behavior. And when you get to the flip side, but the flip side is going to be very different. And to me, it's going to be such a different energy. It's going to feel so much better. People are not going to feel so, like bullies would feel a lot more embarrassed. Like they're not going to feel so much like that they're going to come out guns ablaze, and it's going to be a complete switch of energy where the thing, it's kind of like, because now we're in the upside down. So it's going to be, to me, where things are going to make sense. Because right now, everything is, what's dark is light and light is dark, and everything's upside down. And one thing that so many people are talking about is the light, especially after daylight savings time. And it's so trippy, and I'm sure I already told you guys, but I don't know, because I know I was talking to my son-in-law the whole time he was here. And I was like, as soon as it goes dark, it is so pitch black. And I was like, this is so weird. It is so pitch black. And he was like, man, it is so black. And then, I mean, no light at all, just pitch black. And then, because I'm up all night, then I started seeing, oh, so in the middle of the night, there starts being like a little bit of light in the trees. And so I was thinking, so is it like the moon's missing? Like, I don't know. It's so weird. But now I'm seeing so many people in so many different states saying that like around 5 or 6 o'clock, it's going pitch black. And it's like, they keep on talking about, it doesn't make any sense. It was light until 9:30, until daylight savings time. How did we lose all these hours? And there's other people who are noticing the loss of time, which I had talked about before, was like, but this is something you pay attention to. So like when you are watching a movie, say, that hour and a half of that movie, it doesn't always correlate with the hour and a half of the clock. So there's weird things happening. And I was talking about that a few years ago. But then I always sound crazy. Somebody just said, like, to me, said, don't you feel kind of worried about some of this crazy stuff you're saying? It's like, it's not crazy to me. It's real. And so I don't feel like anything I'm saying is crazy. And, but it is curious because if you think something I'm saying is crazy, I would love to know what it is that you think is crazy. But, because, I mean, I could probably send you more information because a lot of the stuff I've seen evidence even, and because I've been paying attention for a long time. Like I've been in this awakening for a long time. And so let me see, because now I've got the brain injury thing coming down to my mind. Because there's can be some things too where some people don't know, like my whole history of my whole thing of getting a brain injury and then and losing everything and having to heal and getting off of all my patterns and um but see that is one thing too about having a brain injury where I could have gone in two different directions. I could have gone into the sad because I did go there for a long while. Then it was I came to a fork in the road, and it was when my brother told me, "Man, I wish I could get a brain injury so I could have so much free time." That's when it clicked in my head of like, "Fuck, you've got a gift and you are ignoring it, sitting here whining and crying about like you're rejected from society. You can't keep being a job that you hated and stuff." And so it was like it was a gift for him to say that to me. But before that, I was like mad and sad and just all things, like uh, in that kind of loss mindset of focus on what I was losing. And everything changed, everything in my life. And so, and it had been changing it kept changing for a long while. It kept dropping off, just like how people now talk about like things are dropping off out of your life. That I already went through all that stuff. And when I went through it, my guides told me that it was about to happen for everybody. And I didn't know. I thought it was an isolated case. But when I started doing the awakening and started realizing things, then they said this is going to start happening for everybody. Everybody's going to go through this. And that's when I start telling people like there's gonna be this big crisis. Everybody's gonna start going through all this stuff. And everybody started thinking I was so crazy. But, that's what happened. And we are still in that. And so, but I trust my guidance because I have also been in contact with them my whole life. I mean, they started talking to me when I was 3 is the first time I remember, even though they always show me when I was younger, but is when I always first remember is that time when I was 3. And so I have been talking to them. I've had a different viewpoint of life, a different perspective of things for a long time because of it. But yeah, my brain injury and stuff has been a big part of my journey back to um, myself. And but if I would have kept going in the poor me, poor me, poor me, I would have just got sicker. I wouldn't have got better. Probably would have ended up in a nursing home or something because this happens. This is playing out for other people. But you can make a choice. You can choose to look at it as like a blessing, or you can choose to look at it as like loss. And these are the things and that is what helps your brain to make you healthier. And so it's all about this choice of how you look at things. And we get given opportunities all the time. Things are coming up for us all the time to give us opportunities to see things. But that's when you want to get all scared and you want to get all sad and you want to get all falling apart about everything that's going on in the world as everything's falling apart. That's why it's happening. It's because we're going on the flip side. This whole world is all played out, and it's been in this dark fetish I mean, where else were we going to go? We're just going to all start having orgies in the street and eating somebody who falls asleep. Like, where were we headed? It was getting darker and darker in this warped society that they were creating. And the sad thing is that they are pulling these things out of people, like luring this darkness out of them. But the blessing side of it is the light side of it is that you get to have this darkness come out so you can see it, so you can get to know your own darkness, so you can understand your own darkness. And then a lot of things with the soul is going to manage their own darkness. And the people who want to manage it with going more into it, that is the split that's going to go. that we're going towards the light. It's like we're going to be going towards the light, and then the dark is going to go its own direction. And all these people that are splitting right now, I don't necessarily think they're going towards the dark. They're very misinformed. They're under mind control. They're confused. I think they're a big part of the awakening where the big shift happens, because they are going to be so like, their minds are going to be so blown when they see the truth, that it's going to be so like their psyches are going to fucking break. It's like this existential crisis on steroids in the collective. And that to me is what's going to create the solar flash. It's this energetic thing. So anyways, that's what I am thinking today. That's what I'm talking about. Archie just cracks me up. The way he is such a little copper. He's just like always going around in every single thing, anything that I start trying to tell with Max, Archie jumps right in there, like, you do what I say. And he's trying to do that even more. Like, if Stella wants to be, like, come and sit and be petted and stuff, Archie's got to jump down, come around and be like, what about me? What about me? Like, he's such a character. And then the screaming thing, and I'm sure that it's driving the neighbors crazy. That cracks me up. I just think it's the funniest thing. He goes out there and they all start howling. It's like, I've got these emotional dogs in my yard just, oh. It's so funny. So anyways, today we are not celebrating that they slaughtered all of the original people. Instead, we're just feeding our fucking impulses of our addictions to certain foods, and our it's like a it's like a it's like a set thing. You know, it's like if you don't have a Thanksgiving, like people would feel sorry for me. Oh, like, oh my God, she doesn't have any family. I've got family. I could go. My daughters were both like, oh, I wish you could come. And it's like, ugh, man, that is treacherous. Like, yeah, go across the path and then I don't even know. There's like, no way. It seems like too much. I was like, y'all can come here. Oh, well, it's too small. So, you know, but that's the thing in our society. If you're alone, people feel sorry for you, and people who are alone feel sorry for themselves. And everybody expects, you know, like, oh, you gotta have a big crowd, you gotta have a big party, you gotta have a big Thanksgiving gathering, you gotta have a big Christmas gathering, and all of that stuff. Like it's like promoted, but it's like programmed into our minds of what it is supposed to be. And so I'm telling you, these are big programs to be breaking. But it has been in my life ever since my daughter was like back younger, is that this conflict at this time of the year has come of like, you know, are you celebrating the mass cruelty and the genocide of these people, or are you celebrating, you know, you guys all have the same day off and everybody wants to eat the same food? Like, I don't know. Everybody's got to decide for themselves what they're doing and why they're doing it. And then if you don't like what you're doing, make changes, you know, do something different. And that's important because you have the ability. You can do something different every single day. Every day you get up, you can do something different. And whatever day you do something different was always going to be the day you did something different. So don't be mad at yourself that you don't do something different until you do something different. Because if you're not doing something different, you weren't meant to do something different until you do something different. So don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to other people and be kind to yourself. And remember, what you're doing here is learning how to love yourself, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because that's what I'm talking about. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.